Hey everyone, Erick Stakelbeck here. Today on the newscast, a NATO member nation sanctions another NATO member nation as the United States sanctions the Turkish regime, and Recep Erdogan is none too happy. Get all the breaking details coming up. Hey folks, Erick Stakelbeck here. Welcome to the Watchman Newscast. Some major news this week on the global security front that you might have missed. The Trump administration announced sanctions against Turkey, in particular, Turkey's defense industry. Why did they do it? And is this unprecedented for one NATO member to sanction another NATO member? We've got all the breaking details for you coming up, but before we get into it, I just want to encourage you to subscribe to the Watchman News channel right here on YouTube and click the notification bell so you get alerts every time a new video is posted. We are bringing you the kind of cutting-edge, timely information that you just won't hear anywhere else, certainly not in the mainstream media, because what happens in the Middle East does not stay in the Middle East. And when it comes to the Turkish regime, led by Recep Tayyip Erdogan, there's a whole lot happening in the Middle East. Okay, why the sanctions? Just announced earlier this week. Number one, the main reason here, Turkey had been asking for it for a while, to be quite frank. As we've talked about for the past several months here on the YouTube, they have become a very nefarious actor in the Middle East and on the global stage under the radical rule of Recep Tayyip Erdogan. More on him in a minute. But the real reason behind these sanctions are this. Turkey has purchased Russia's S-400 anti-aircraft missile defense system after being warned specifically by the United States not to do it. Now, the United States has called for sanctions, or has said we will sanction any nation that buys weapons systems from Iran, North Korea, and Russia. So Turkey was warned. The United States said, look, Russia is a strategic rival. They had told Turkey, had the Trump administration, and we don't want you buying these Russian-made advanced arms systems. Simple as that. It's pretty cut and dry, but Turkey went another route. They're saying, hey, well, we came to the United States and we asked for the U.S. to sell us the anti-aircraft systems, and the United States said no. Now, that is very much open for debate, but what is not open for debate is that Turkey absolutely, against the expressed wishes of the United States, purchased this Russian advanced S-400 anti-aircraft system. Now, last year, this isn't the first time that the United States has sanctioned Turkey. If you rewind to last year, October 2019, when Turkey invaded Syria and really started slaughtering the Kurds there in northern Syria, the United States sanctioned Turkey as well. And I think back to when Pastor Andrew Brunson, the American evangelical pastor who was in Turkish custody, with that whole situation, the United States was very strong on Turkey there as well. But the concern for the U.S., because if you're watching right now, you might say, hey, big deal. Turkey can do business with whoever they want to do business with. And that's their right as a sovereign nation. Absolutely. No argument there. Two things to keep in mind from an American perspective, however. Number one, Turkey is a NATO member nation. Russia is not a NATO member nation. In fact, Russia is seen by NATO as a strategic competitor and a rival. Let's be frank. So you have a NATO member nation buying weapons systems from a rival nation, from a rival entity in the form of Vladimir Putin's Russia. And I think the concern for the United States, I know the concern for the United States is, hey, is Turkey going to share intelligence about NATO with Russia and things on that level? So I think a very legitimate concern from the United States. You might not agree with it. If you're in Turkey right now, the Turks are enraged about it. We'll talk about that more in a minute. But if you are in Turkey right now or you're elsewhere in the world, you'd say, hey, the U.S., Iran, of course, is saying the U.S. is being a bully and wielding that sanctions hammer once again, because clearly, and rightfully so, the Trump administration has sanctioned the Iranian regime. Another very bad actor in the region has sanctioned them hard. And now Turkey is feeling the heat a little bit, and I believe it's long overdue. Now, the sanctions, as I mentioned at the top, are specifically targeting Turkey's defense industry. They're not sweeping sanctions that are really going to hurt the Turks in the pocketbook or anything like that, but it's more a case of message sent. You're ostensibly an ally under Erdogan. That's open for debate, as we've discussed many times here on the newscast, but you are a NATO member nation. We have specifically asked you as an ostensible ally not to buy this Russian weapons system, and now you've done it, so there's consequences. Folks, this is how statecraft, this is how international relations works. You may not like it, but it's a fact. Turkey absolutely is free as a sovereign nation to do what it wants to do and to deal with who it wants to deal with, but they have to know that it flies in the face of their NATO allies and the worldview here in the United States and among NATO. So, hey, there are consequences for every action that we take and that nations take. So there you have it. Now, you might ask, is this completely unprecedented for a NATO member nation to sanction another NATO member nation? It almost is. I did a little research on this. Apparently, folks, in 1974, NATO levied sanctions against Portugal, obviously a tiny European nation, in Portugal for a period of time. But now we have Turkey. And I believe, I may be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm right here, and just in doing the research, Turkey, this is only the second instance since NATO began of a NATO member nation sanctioning another NATO member nation. As I said, with the Pastor Brunson fiasco, the United States sanctioned Turkish individuals there. And then you had the Turkish invasion of Syria last year. And now with the purchase by Erdogan of the S-400 missile defense system. A few things here to keep in mind. Number one, I am not anti-Turkish, folks. I got some commenters when I criticize Erdogan, which I'm doing today, right now, when I criticize Erdogan, saying I'm anti-Turkish. Not at all. Turkey was a loyal U.S. ally, a loyal NATO ally, and a loyal ally of Israel under a secular government since the days of Ataturk, and a positive player in the region for the most part. I believe, sadly, and the Turkish people are a proud people with a proud history, but I believe, sadly, under Recep Tayyip Erdogan, Turkey has gone in a very dangerous direction gradually since he became president in 2002. He's consolidated power. He's turned away from the West and turned more into the Eastern orbit, which includes Russia, Iran, Hamas. Erdogan is an open supporter of the vicious terror group Hamas, and reportedly even has hosted Hamas members who were living on Turkish soil and perhaps even directing attacks, terror attacks, from Turkish soil. This is a big deal. Not only that, Erdogan, as we've discussed here in the past, allowed ISIS terrorists and ISIS recruits coming from Europe and elsewhere to transit freely through Turkey into Syria back in 2013, 2014, 2015, at the height of that ISIS caliphate. So whether it's ISIS, he wasn't offering verbal open support for ISIS, but tacitly, Erdogan was allowing ISIS to transit right across his soil and into Syria next door to wage jihad. So between that, between Hamas, between his vicious, folks, I don't use that word lightly, vicious rhetoric against Israel, including constant calls to retake Jerusalem for Islam, and saying a short time ago that Jerusalem is ours, and I'm quoting him, meaning the Ottoman Turks. This is a man who wants to revive the Ottoman Caliphate. He sees himself as the Caliph, the great leader of the Muslim world, and that's really what he wants to do. He's made no bones about it. He's very open about his intentions. He wants to reestablish a great Turkish empire and Ottoman influence across the Middle East and North Africa, and that's why he's involved right now, not only in Syria, but in Iraq, harassing the Kurds there. I can tell you firsthand, I've been in Kurdistan, and I've heard the Kurds talk about this. In Libya, he was involved in the Azerbaijan-Armenia conflict last month. In the Mediterranean region, he's involved in some maritime disputes with Greece and Cyprus and others. So Turkey, under Erdogan, has become a very dangerous actor in the Middle East, North Africa, Mediterranean region That's just a fact. So folks, don't get it twisted. Understand what I'm saying. I'd like to see Turkey post-Erdogan. But as long as Turkey is under his radical rule, I've referred to them before and I will refer to them again as NINO, NATO in name only. That's the acronym I use for Turkey under Erdogan. Not NATO, but NINO under Erdogan's radical rule. And unfortunately, I don't see things changing as long as he is in power. And again, he's consolidating power. He is someone cut from the Muslim Brotherhood ilk. He is a committed radical Islamist. Again, he was elected president in 2002. Now we're on the doorstep of 2021. And look how Turkey has regressed and done a 360 in the worst way under his leadership. It's been gradual, and incremental all along. So we are keeping an eye on this. The Turks, at least the regime of Erdogan, is furious over these U.S. sanctions. So we'll see where this turns. I have a feeling that Erdogan will continue his long march into the arms of the East and strengthening alliances with Russia, with Iran, and these other bad actors. Prophetically, many people have discussed Ezekiel 38 and 39, the war of Gog and Magog. Will Turkey be involved in that? And will Russia and Iran, will they also be involved in that? I know everyone has different prophetic takes, but that's something fascinating to look at, folks, as you see the region shaping up and these alliances forming and Turkey's turn away from the West. An unfortunate turn, once again, because the Turks were a loyal and dependable, trusted ally for decades in the NATO alliance. Last thing, real quick, some people have mentioned and commented here on our YouTube channel, and we read your comments. I can't respond to all of them, unfortunately, but please continue to comment. Let us know what you think. But some people have asked, hey, can NATO kick Turkey out? Apparently, there is not the capability for NATO to kick out member nations, but there is the ability for NATO member nations to pull out on their own and say, hey, we're done, we're leaving, we're out of here, NATO. Is it outside the realm of possibility that Erdogan might eventually do that? I don't believe it is. He's been, in his view, he's been burnt by the EU, the European Union. For instance, Turkey, for years has been talk of Turkey entering the European Union. That's never happened. Could he say, you know what, NATO, you are not lined up with my interests anymore, we're out of here? Perhaps. Perhaps he comes to some kind of strategic, formal agreement with the likes of Russia or Iran, which is so interesting again, folks, because these are three entities, three nations, three empires: Persian Empire, Ottoman Empire, Russian Empire. They're trying to revive those empires today, but they have traditionally been at each other's throats, and now they're coming together. So who knows what is all coming down the pike, but I can guarantee you this: we will bring you all of the breaking updates right here on the Watchman Newscast. So be sure to click that subscribe button and hit the notification bell and give us a thumbs up, give us some likes, and you can get alerts every time we post one of these new videos. I don't think you're really getting this kind of analysis in the mainstream media. Call me crazy, so be sure to tune in here. We're going to continue to bring it to you in 2021 and beyond. Remember our great offer with ARTSA. Go to artsabox.com, use the Watchman discount code, Watchman18, only 1 week until Christmas Eve. Christmas right around the corner, so this offer lasts through Christmas. ARTSA boxes from Bethlehem, Israeli-made products from Bethlehem, the place of Christ's birth, made by Israeli small businesses, entrepreneurs, and artisans. Great offer, artsabox.com. Use the discount code Watchman18. Great Christmas gift. Hey, the place of Christ's birth, Bethlehem, products from Bethlehem, a unique Christmas gift, a conversation piece for the Israel and Bible lover in your home. Love the work that Arts is doing, proud to partner with them, so check that out, artsabox.com, Watchman18. Until next time, God bless you, thanks for joining us, and remember, never hold your peace.